When a doctor listens to your heart, have you ever wondered what they're really hearing? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the common tests that give us this incredible window into our most vital organ. And let me tell you, this stuff really matters. We're talking about cardiovascular disease, which is, believe it or not, the single greatest cause of death and disability worldwide. So yeah, understanding how we monitor our hearts, that's not just for doctors. It's really crucial knowledge for all of us.
When people say heart disease, it's easy to think it's just one thing, but it's not. It's this huge umbrella that covers a whole range of issues. You've got problems with the heart's plumbing, like coronary artery disease. Then you have issues with its electrical system, like arrhythmias, and even things like structural problems people are born with.
Okay, so with all those potential problems, how in the world do doctors figure out what's going on? Well, they have this absolutely incredible toolkit of tests that lets them peek inside and get a super detailed picture, all without making a single cut. So for this explainer, we're going to dive into four of the big ones, the real workhorses of this toolkit. We'll look at the ECG, the Holter monitor, the exercise test, and the echo. You can pretty much think of these as the big four for any heart investigation.
All right, let's start with the ECG. This is probably the one you're most familiar with. It's the most common cardiac test out there. And the best way to think about it is, well, it's like capturing the heart's unique electrical signature. It's the little broadcast it sends out with every single beat. And the concept behind it is actually pretty elegant. See, every time your heart muscle squeezes and then relaxes, it creates these tiny little electrical currents. The ECG machine is basically designed to just listen in on that, record those currents, and then draw them out as a picture we can actually read. And this is what it looks like. This waveform is literally the language of your heart's electrical system. And every single little bump and spike on here, it has a very specific meaning. The main parts we're looking at are called the P wave, the QRS complex, and the T wave. So let's follow the story of just one heartbeat, okay? That first little bump, the P wave, that's the signal firing up the top chambers of the heart. Then, bam, you get that big spike, the QRS complex. That's the main event, the big, powerful squeeze of the bottom chambers. And then the final bump, the T wave, is just everything resetting, getting ready to go again. It's a whole story right there in one little swiggle. Right, but here's the million-dollar question. How does looking at this squiggle actually help find problems? It's all about pattern recognition. Doctors spend years learning what a normal signature looks like, so they can spot instantly when something is off. And check this out. It's a perfect example. On the left, you've got a totally normal ECG. Now look over at the one on the right. See that section right after the big spike? That little segment, it's different, right? It's not supposed to dip down like that. That one tiny change in the signature is a massive red flag. And what it's flagging is a really serious condition called ischemia. All that means is the heart muscle isn't getting enough oxygen, usually because the arteries supplying it with blood are getting clogged up. So the ECG, it lets us see the electrical chaos caused by the heart basically starving for oxygen. Okay, but here's the catch with a standard ECG. It's just a snapshot, right? It only takes a few seconds. So what happens if your symptoms, like palpitations or a dizzy spell, only happen every now and then? The chances of catching it during that tiny window at the doctor's office are, well, they're pretty slim. So what's the solution? It's called a Holter monitor. And the best way to think of it is like a movie instead of a snapshot. It's basically a portable ECG that you wear for 24 or even 48 hours, and it records everything. It's like a 24-hour diary for your heart. This is why, if you go to a doctor and say you've been fainting, getting dizzy, or having palpitations, that weird feeling of your heart skipping a beat or racing, they'll almost certainly suggest a Holter. They're trying to catch that exact moment on tape to see what the electricity was doing right when it happened. Okay, so everything we've talked about so far has been about the heart's electrical system. But that's only half the story. What about the physical machine itself? The structure? How well is it actually pumping? For that, we need a totally different kind of tool, the echocardiogram, or echo for short. And this is a really important distinction to make. The ECG and the Holter, they're for checking the rhythm, the electrical side of things. But the echo? That's an imaging test. It uses ultrasound, the same tech used for baby scans, to create a live, moving video of your heart. It's all about anatomy and function. And with that moving picture, doctors can see all sorts of incredible detail. They can spot structural problems someone might have been born with, and maybe most importantly, they can measure the heart's pumping strength,
It's a number called the ejection fraction, which tells them exactly how efficiently the heart is doing its job. All right, so we've got electrical tests and we've got structural tests. But what if a heart looks totally fine when you're just sitting there, but the problems only pop up when it's under stress? Well, that's exactly why we have our next test, the stress test. It's all about seeing how the heart performs under pressure. Think about it. When you exercise, your heart has to work way harder. It needs more oxygen, more blood. The whole point of a stress test is to answer one critical question. When the heart is screaming for more blood flow, can the arteries actually deliver? And there are basically two ways to do this. The classic way is putting you on a treadmill and making you walk or run to get that heart rate up. But what if someone can't exercise? No problem. There's a chemical stress test where they give you a medication that, well, it basically tricks your heart into thinking you're running a marathon, even while you're lying still. So there you have it, 4 different tests, each looking at the heart from a slightly different angle. Let's pull it all together and see how they create one big, clear picture of your heart's health. And this, right here, is the most important thing to remember. None of these tests are doing the same job. They're all pieces of a larger puzzle. You've got the ECG and Holter for the electrical wiring. You've got the echo for the physical structure, the nuts and bolts. And you've got the stress test to see how it performs under load. Each piece is totally unique and totally essential. And when a doctor has all those pieces, they can put them together to get this amazingly detailed picture of your heart. They can check the wiring, the plumbing, the structure, the performance, the whole shebang. And the most incredible part? They can do all of it without ever making a single cut. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. From reading simple electrical signals to watching the heartbeat in real time with ultrasound, we've built this incredible window into one of the body's greatest mysteries. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's next? What will the next generation of this technology be able to show us?